Welcome to Meet Your Recruiter Week. I'm Angela Cripps, the MD of the Recruiting Gym. And this morning I'm joined by the wonderful Jo Phillips. Good morning, Jo. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well, thank you. Really good to see you, and thank you for having me here.
Well, it was a no-brainer, really, because it is National Equal Pay Day. We go
Mhm.
on these calendars with all these different days, and it's like, oh my goodness, in Meet Your Recruiter Week, we've got an Equal Pay Day. So we couldn't not put it in there because recruiters can have such an impact on this. But also, you've actually got a petition going at the moment, haven't you, with hashtag Make Salary History. So I have put that both on LinkedIn in the comments and here. So maybe if we could start with that so that you could explain, well, what's that all about?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So I'm wearing red today, and the reason that I'm wearing red is not because I'm comfortable in a red jacket. It's actually because, yes, as of today, for women, we're finally out of the red. So we've now finally caught up with men from 2023, which is in this day and
Oh,
age.
as of today's date, we've earned the
As of
same as ever.
today's date, we've done the same as men in 2023. So, effectively, we've been in the red, as your bank account is, since the back end of last year.
So
So
that means we're already way behind for this year.
exactly that, exactly that.
Ah.
So the petition that you're referring to is really all about how do we make a difference in a world that just accepts that there will be a pay gap. What do we do? And I think the recruitment industry itself is just key to being able to help us. So the reason that we've got the petition is if we look to the states of the 50 states in the US, 23 of those have chosen voluntarily to. In the first instance, they chose voluntarily. There's a
State
financial
law.
penalty.
All right.
It's
Okay.
state law. So there's a financial penalty for 23 of the states if you ask anyone for their salary history during any stage of the application, interview, or onboarding process. There's a financial penalty somewhere between £5,000 and £25,000.
Ooh, okay. That
So
makes it
what
real.
it makes it real. So what the states have seen is, look, there's some skin in the game, right? We can't get away with it. Um, we can't put ourselves in a position where we say that we're doing all the right things, but actually we're not. From a process, from a protocol, from a rigor perspective, you've now got skin in the game, and it stings, right? It stings those who have to pay. So the states are really paving the way there, and hence the petition. So thank you for sharing the petition. At the moment, we have 634 signatures, which is amazing and fantastic. And thank you to everybody. If we can get to 10,000, we're then in a position where we can go ahead and we can join this petition up to the likes of the Forset Society, who do a huge amount of campaigning around this. And then we can put our numbers with their numbers. We actually need over 100,000 to have any sway at all, to even have this looked at.
Oh, you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah. So I think I'm just pausing there to say, look, we're a long way off getting to where we need to be with this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the petition, let me just show this, and then actually we can go on to your post as well,
Thank you.
because there I was sort of against it to start with, because
I
I was
know, right?
a couple of years ago, I was still training. When you're screening a candidate and you're looking at what they're willing to take for their next role. So I tended to focus around that, but I would then question, so what salary are you on now? When did you last have a pay rise? Because just to see whether actually they just recently had one, they'd had a lift, they're about to leave again, they're going to bump themselves up to where they maybe aren't capable of. And didn't realize the impact of that, because I didn't have the knowledge of the fact that, yeah, it's taken us till today to catch up with the men from last year. So not understanding the impact that was having, where a lot of the time people were being underpaid, from whatever minority group, and therefore that was perpetuating it. Because okay, well, if that's what you're on, then yeah, you want an uplift for your next role, but then someone else comes in and they're on 5,000 more, and you're not questioning why they're on 5,000 more for doing pretty much the same job, maybe even in the same company. And it was things like that that I wasn't challenging, and I didn't realize, and therefore it suddenly sort of hit home. Oh my God, yeah, we're just perpetuating this issue and these problems to move forward. So that's the Make Salary History hashtag. Let's get loads of followers on that today, as it's Equal Pay Day. And then you've got in there the link to down here. It's this one. It really stands out, and I reposted it today to sign the petition, and we've put the links in there for you to go do that. But let's get into today's post. So you've already mentioned we've caught up from 2023, but there's some other really key points in here and some stats around why we're not getting equal pay. So if you just want to share your knowledge, that would be fabulous.
Yeah, of course I will. Of course. So I think there's a couple of, I just want to go back a couple of steps before we talk about the data. So it's not, the challenges are huge. And the reason that we've got the challenges is first of all, from a societal perspective. So women are not expected, and it's not accepted, to self-promote. We're expected to advocate for others rather than for self. That in turn means that we will see our more self-promoting peers be more successful more quickly. If you then add on the societal expectations, and actually the studies tell us that women are expected to be meek. Isn't meek an interesting word? Meek, and therefore self.
Well, the meek shall inherit the earth is what I know from Monty Python. I'm not religious. The meek. Oh, the meek. Oh, lovely. so maybe it's not bad. We're going to take over.
Yeah, quite. So there's this piece about, in the first instance, be selfless. Be me. Oh, look what Stephen O'Donnell's just said. Exactly what you just said. Look, inhibit the earth is brilliant.
He's put inhibit the earth instead of inherit. The Monty Python sketch starts off with, though, did he say Greek? Who's the Greek that's going to get the earth? Who's that? Oh, he said me. Oh, lovely.
Oh, no.
I didn't expect to do some Monty Python today. Actually, I'm going to the pictures tonight to see the new film by the group that did Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, all of that team. He looks very Monty Python-esque, and I'm such a huge fan of both those genres. So I'm hoping it's a mashup of both. So anyway, I'll tell you tomorrow.
Me too. And we're 20 minutes away from each other. I can't believe I didn't get invited to the pictures, but that's another story. That's fun. So going back then to why today is a total shit show and shouldn't be happening. So let's go back. So one, societal expectations: be meek, be selfless, therefore advocate for others, not for self. The second piece is around the ability to negotiate. What we know is that whilst women do negotiate, interestingly, there is a bias around the negotiation piece. And what the studies will tell us is that actually women will be less successful on the basis that there is already an underlying bias that women should be either only paid a little bit more than they're currently earning, or from a negotiation perspective, they're not taken seriously. So then you compound on top of that, if as a recruiter, and just as you've mentioned, Angela, of course, for years and years, we all train to ask people their salary expectations, massive part of matching them to a role, with a blind and lack of understanding for many of us that actually that, again, impacts the amount of money that the female will be offered. It impacts everybody, but actually the gap is about female representation, and it's women that are earning less than men. And so actually by asking those questions, what we're doing is we're just compounding the issue, right? We're just compounding it. So when you look at the stats and when you look at the figures, we've got an awful lot of work to do to make changes. There are other barriers for women. So in order to really close this gap, the studies and the research tells us that what women need most is flex in the workplace.
Yeah.
You will have seen, you will have heard about the Flex Appeal study that was done by both Elizabeth Whitehouse and Alfred McAlpine. I'm not sure if it's in the post, but I just want to talk to it, and we'll also talk to the Flex Appeal. So look, the flex piece is about understanding that women don't have the same 24 hours in a day. There's childcare. They're much more likely to be caring. If it's not for children, they'll also be doing the wider family care piece. Something around 3.7 hours a day versus 1.5 hours a day. So
For men,
flex.
for women. So women are likely to do 3.7 hours of caring and looking after and all those extras. Men are likely to do 1.7. So it's not that they're not doing it, they just don't do as much.
Exactly that. And again, let's also not skim over the fact that from a societal perspective, men are not expected and very rarely get offered part-time jobs.
Yeah, that's
Let's
true.
hold on to that a minute. So that's an issue. And the second piece is that they're not expected or would be expected to not spend as much time at home, and would also receive a bias around leaving the office from a childcare perspective. So nobody's saying that this is perfect anywhere, right? But actually this is about women and closing the gap. So flexibility is key. Has to be given flexibility. And what's interesting is when you look at the study that was actually done during COVID, so interesting that because huge organizations had zero choice but to move everybody to work from home and to have the flexibility, actually what the studies showed is that there was zero negative impact, and that actually 3 days a week from home saw a 65% increase in things like income, in things like workplace happiness, in things like NPS scores going through the roof for individuals. So, what is a workplace if it isn't a human place? And I think at some point we've lost in the chaos of everything that's going on out there with the economy, with interest rates, with all the various geopolitical challenges. I think we've lost a little bit of actually what's important, and
Yeah.
really what is a workplace if it isn't a human place. And so the flex piece is key for women. The second piece that's key is culture. And we all talk about culture, but actually, just to be really, I guess, if anybody who knows me knows that I'm super direct, just to really thud the hammer, when we're talking about culture, what we're talking about is losing those microaggressions. So the microaggressions that women will be in receipt of have a huge, and actually, in fact, it's proven they have anything but a micro impact. They have a huge impact, a massive impact. So those microaggressions, like, for example, oh, where did you get your stats from? Or are you sure that research is right? Or where did you get those data insights from? Those are microaggressions. And what she will do is she will self-shield. And self-shield means that she'll withdraw from the office. Withdrawing from the office creates lack of visibility. And visibility is one of the key components towards being able to create your exposure and your reputation. And it's those two that then combine to then being in a position whereby you've created impression management, and it's impression management that is key for promotion.
Right. Okay. So, like you say, lots of work to do, but some little things that can make a difference there. So certainly make salary history. We're not as recruiters asking people what people are on. It's about what they want, but also just stop and check yourself as to those microaggressions, because I get that all the time. If I quote something, I always try and put the source, and people will still say, "You sure that's right?" It's like, I've just put the link, I've put the source. Why are you questioning me to challenge it just because it doesn't fit with your premise? And we've seen that a lot in the last week or two. I've been sort of party to a group where we're calling out these things. So equal pay day, I mean, it's Meet Your Recruiter Week. You can take it however you want. So whether you want to get into this side, so my post has done that, Joe's post has done that, giving you lots of information on what's happening and how you can help. That would be great. Share the Make Salary History hashtag as well. So we'll get people following that and signing the petition. So there's just one thing that you could do today that will help to make a difference. But it could be, I've seen this morning posts on people posting jobs and confidently putting out there equal pay. So hopefully that will help women to step forward and promote themselves. And you're right, because I've always done that. I was sort of trained that right from the earth. If you don't ask, you don't get, was from a very young age. And so, but when I did, people would say, and I thought it was a compliment at the time, and I've only just clicked today, they'd say, "You've got quite a masculine energy about you." Because I would promote myself and I would ask, and I love negotiating and all of those things, but they would then make it a masculine trait in me. And I've only just realised that, yeah, that wasn't really a compliment. That was taking it away from me.
And isn't it interesting that people feel that from a societal perspective they can say that? Isn't
Yeah.
it interesting?
Yeah, I never even thought about it. It's only here with you saying about that promotion piece and people not tending to put themselves forward. I thought, oh, I always did. And then I realised what they said. And I'm like, yeah, that's not great. So double check yourself today. Think about what you're saying. Think about those microaggressions as well. And support. There's things that you can do to support it. And as recruiters, we can really shift this. We've also got our Hiring Happenings podcast. I'll get that link in there. This month was all about sociological. So we had Joe Major all around ED&I and some of these key points as well. And Keith Rosser from Reed, where he's part of the parliamentary groups around all of this. So there was lots of links and information from him that was really helpful as well. We could go on all day, I know, Joe, but we've only got 15 minutes. So that's our 15 minutes. Tomorrow, we're back with In the Pink. Feel good day, making you feel good. And just a quick shout out, Rebecca Shannon, one of our coaches, who is Miss Pink to me.
And me.
All the branding, it's all pink. It's her birthday today. So happy birthday, Rebecca. Lovely. Thanks, Joe. We'll see you all back same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Angela. Bye for now. Bye-bye.